The Rowan University Bursar's office is the office responsible for handling most of the monetary transactions that take place between the students and Rowan University. This office is responsible for the billing of tuition and fees, payments, third-party agreements, past due accounts and collections, payment plans, refunds, and meal plans. The overall goal of this office is to bring all student accounts to a paid-off status. Even though this department does work with student finances, they are not directly involved in the financial aid process. Currently, the Rowan University Office of the Bursar handles approximately 16,000 students, combining graduate and undergraduate. And with a small staff of only 17 people, the Bursar's office is expected to accommodate all of these students by themselves.
All right, so can you introduce yourself and what you do here at the Bursar office?
Sure. My name is Sarah Morgan. I'm the head clerk here in the Bursar's office. I actually work in the cashier's room. So the Bursar's office is responsible for billing all tuition bills to all students, both on this campus and the medical school and Cooper Medical School, and collecting the tuition payments. And we also do help get financial aid applied to the tuition bills with, of course, the help of the financial aid office. And we also disperse refund checks as necessary. And our office is also responsible for the Rowan Card Borough Bucks program, whereby, and the student meal plans. So we administer that whole program and make sure that all the meal plans are functioning and the funds are there when someone needs to buy lunch, kind of the lunch money account.
So how many people work in the Bursar's office and how many people work at the cashier's office specifically?
We have about 17 employees full-time, one student worker, and in the Bursar's office as a whole. And we have 3 employees in the cashier's room in the front office waiting on students, kind of the front lines, taking payments and answering questions.
So are there any common issues that the Bursar office deals with?
Oh, of course. As with any business, there's always issues that need to be resolved, and for billing issues, the Bursar's office is the go-to place to resolve them. So commonly here, we routinely help students identify charges on their account, if they're valid, making sure that they're registered for the number of credits they're expecting to be registered for. Are their housing charges accurate? Is the meal plan accurate? And if there's any new charges on their bill that they weren't expecting, we can sometimes help troubleshoot and identify them, and then assist the student in resolving that, at least telling them what department they need to talk to and what steps they need to take to either make sure the charge is valid or just simply pay the bill. So, and that leads into all sorts of other, not problems, but challenges with navigating our banner self-service system and the Bursar services portion of that, and helping students figure out how to look at their bill, how to read their charges in their billing statement, and of course how to pay it online, the online bill pay system. So it's an intricate process with a lot of bits and pieces, so it's not always intuitive, but once you get used to the system, I find people understand it better. But sometimes you have to help them, especially the incoming freshmen and transfer students. They sometimes need a little more assistance.
What are the peak times of the semester that you get the most activity from students?
So bills are published for the fall term in July. So every year our activity is very cyclical. The same thing happens every year. So the bills are published in July. They're due in August. And as soon as they're published, we get a lot of activity through the phones, more so through the phones through August, and then the first week of class, leading right up to the first week of class, and through the period when we issue refund checks. It seems like non-stop activity. So, and then once the refund checks are issued in October, typically, we begin to get a lull. I mean, right now is probably one of the slowest times of the year. However, we're about to publish the spring bills, so that activity is just going to pick right up, right back where it was, and the bills will be due in January, and we'll go through the same sort of process. So I'd like to say the pre-registration period leading into the first day of class is very busy, right through the first couple months of class. We get a small window of a lull, but we usually use that time to tweak our systems and make sure everything's upgrade systems or do necessary housekeeping, getting ready for the next semester. So,
what is the current process for handling student concerns?
Current process for handling student concerns, I guess, starts with identifying the problem. So, in talking to a student, I have to be able to get enough information to the student to be able to review the student's account and identify the problem and what actually causes that. Because the problem may be, I'm on denial of services, I can't register. And that's what the student might bring to this office. I'm on denial of services, I cannot register for spring. Well, yes, that is a problem to the student, but why is the student on denial of services? So that's where, the employees here have to be able to get enough information from the student, identify maybe what financial aid item is missing from the account, causing the student to owe money and be on denial of services. And why is that missing? And who do I have to talk to get it resolved? So to get from point A to point B, the student knows I'm on denial of services. Why? And it's our job to figure that out and give them a resolution.
What are some areas that you think can be improved upon within the Bursar's office?
So one of our challenges, I think, in the university, but specifically in the Bursar's office, is that the students are only here for 4 years. Every year, every semester, we get new students. So we go through we take a lot of trouble to try to put together like an educational packet for incoming freshmen and transfer students. And we go to orientation to give presentations to the incoming class and try to educate the student on what they can expect. How do I get a copy of my bill? How do I know what I owe? How do I pay my bill? How do I view this online through Banner self-service? How do I navigate that? And, every point that the student has to go through, we have a checklist that we like to hand out in the orientation packet. And I think the number one thing that would help make it go smoother up front is making sure the student has the tools they need to do the self-service part of it.
Through the creation of an A3 report, which is a report that is meant to help identify and communicate important project information in order to guide decision making, we were able to identify that the major issue for the Bursar's office is that they are unable to effectively handle lines of students without causing long waits. The two major contributors to this problem were the lack of utilized resources and the inability to educate students on how to use the online services. When looking at the current process flow, the Bursar's office starts with the employee receiving training. They then speak at orientation to inform students of the online services. After that, whenever they receive a student, they have to gather and research that student's information on the fly, which takes a significant amount of time, contributing to the creation of a line. While the improved process is complex, it will be much more beneficial. An improved process would include cross-training for all of the employees so that any one of them will be able to help at the window if needed. In addition to speaking at orientation, Bursar employees would also create a guide to help freshman seminar professors to teach their students about the online services system, helping to reduce the need for students to come to the physical office for help. Also, if a student were to come to the desk, they would be required to fill out an informational sheet regarding their problem and any other information that was relevant to solving that problem before they spoke to the person at the desk, reducing the amount of time that the desk person will need to do searching records for more information. If the line does become too long, a notification system that the person at the desk can control will be implemented so that it will be able to notify all cross-trained employees that one of them is needed to temporarily open a window.
Before the new process is implemented, the people at the desk of the bursar's office will be asked to record the time that they spend with each student for 1 week of each month. From this data, an average time will be determined.
After one semester payment cycle of data collection, the new process will be implemented and the times will again be recorded for another cycle. The average from the new process will be compared with that from the old one in order to prove that it is successful in reducing the amount of time students are at the bursar's office, therefore reducing lines.